What's going on? What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Steele Live. Guess what? I'm Steele. Got an awesome show lined up for you guys tonight. Great to see you. I see a lot of familiar names in the chat, some new folks as well. Just a nice blend. That's what we like to see. Tuesday night, going up on a Tuesday, as the kids said, maybe about a year ago, I think. If you haven't smashed that like button, if you could just feel free to do that. It's the number one thing you can do to help out a channel like this. Work through those tricky YouTube algorithms and all that stuff so we can reach more people. Also, if you're new here, I'd like to personally welcome you and feel free to join our wacky, weird little slice of the YouTubes. Just hit subscribe, hit all on that notification bell. Ascend with us to Moon, Mars, and beyond. Some are even going to Uranus after that. I'm not sure if I will be one of those people. I will leave that up to your discretion. I think I will more be headed towards Saturn after that, or maybe Jupiter. Not quite sure which. The third destination will be from there. Lastly, if you feel compelled to super chat anywhere throughout the duration of this broadcast, that's obviously hugely appreciated for all the time and efforts put in. Feel free to ask myself or my esteemed guest this evening whatever you'd like. The market right now is just kind of in a very modest correction across the board. It's kind of really nice, beautiful, healthy correction across the board right now. Just the kind of thing we like to see. So if anything breaks out significantly while we're on the air here, market-wise, don't worry. I will be on that to report that. Maybe bring in a chart while we're talking here for you guys to gaze upon. So yeah, without any further ado, I'd like to bring in my guest tonight. She is founder of Crypto Titties and other wild adventures. It's none other than Ashley D. At first, in my mind, it was Ashley G, and I actually put that on the first design. I don't know why I did that. But Ashley D, what is going on, Ashley?
Hey, I literally just got off of a plane like 30 minutes ago. So I'm good. I'm just chilling. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, it's awesome to have you. So what was your latest venture related to NFT business and anything like that?
Yes. So what I did is after the NFT NYC event, I actually flew to Atlanta, Georgia to have a conference with some people, like entrepreneurs at the Porsche headquarters, and was talking to them about Crypto Titties. So I got to tell a bunch of old CEOs and business owners about my titties and NFTs generally. So that was fun.
Yeah, the one thing I really love about your project is the jokes really kind of write themselves. And anything where you embark, whether it's on any business, not just within crypto or NFTs, but if you name it something where the jokes really just lend themselves to it, it's pretty awesome, right? I mean, so obviously your project is a awesome quintessential example of that. Was that kind of something that you were aware of going into this?
Oh yeah. I mean, I've always made jokes about titties like forever. Like Anyone that follows me or anybody that sees me on their timeline, they know that I'm literally tweeting about titties all the time or responding to people with that. So it just felt like right for me to do an NFT about titties. Like what's better than doing that? You can just talk about them all day, and literally you can say NF titties and it's just like, it just natural rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, it totally rolls off the tongue. Rock Lobster coming in with some big Doge energy, $50 super chat. Thank you so much, Rock Lobster, for your generous super chat. Honestly, it's people like you that allow me to spend as much time on the stuff as I do. So thank you, really appreciate that. Says titties, proof that men can pay attention to two things at once. Ba-doonch. I like that one. I like that one. Yeah. There you go. See, as we were saying, the jokes really write themselves, Ashley. Now, since how long has your NFT line been out?
It came out in August, so it's just been a couple of months. Like it actually took me like a month and a half to mint. So technically it just like was complete a few weeks ago, really. So final mint was a few weeks ago. So all in all, it's still a very new project.
Yes. So, that's the thing about the NFT space. This is like, and even though NFTs have been around for, several years now, as far as most people's experience with NFTs, the NFT market, this is something that's all relatively very new to almost every single one of us. And being involved and having an NFT line out right now, Ashley, seeing how it's evolving literally on a daily basis, do you find this more intimidating or exhilarating?
Oh man, well at first it was intimidating because you've got like these big projects and they're all generative, and mine are just like manually made and manually minted. But once I started finding success and a lot of people started supporting me and a lot of people invited me to speaking events or invested in my project, it started to become clear to me that it was just like an exciting time. Like somebody like me can literally make an NFT and people will get behind it, and that was like kind of what like my spirit needed, just to kind of feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Like I feel like I'm exactly where I need to be.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, that leads me to another question. I really like the marriage of the low-res pixelation aesthetic with the tatas. There's just something about that I find it's just rather charming. It's just really charming. So, and bringing those two things together. Firstly, are you the sole artist of your line?
Yes, there's only one Crypto Titties that has like an additional artist, and that's actually Hello, I'm Morgan. I did a Grumpkin titty because she does the Grumpkin, so that was the only other person that contributed art to my project.
Okay, got it. So, what was the first? What is the first Crypto Titty piece that you ever did? And was it something that, when you did that first piece, was the concept already there that you decided you were going to do this line, or is it something that kind of happened afterwards where you're like, this is funny, now I'm gonna do this? What order did it come in?
So it was started as a complete joke because I was like minting NFTs just for fun, like being silly. Like I originally was minting like silly ones like foot NFTs or like just pictures of doodles that I did. And then I just happened to get a pixel app and I was like, how funny would it be if I made like a little character with boobies? So I ended up making that character, and somebody immediately put in an offer of like 0.1 ETH, and I was like, well, shoot, like I'm gonna accept it. And then I started selling more, and then it became like a whole project, and here I am.
Awesome. So it actually started with you making a couple first, and then you saw that there was interest in Crypto Titties. Then the line came after that.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. Got it. So yeah, really interesting. So how many are minted in total on this collection?
There's 250 total.
Okay, 250. I actually think that's pretty cool and pretty wise. One of the main, what I see is kind of missteps in a lot of the NFT market now, I believe, is not only are we under a certain level of oversaturation right now, but a lot of new collections that come out are perhaps a bit too ambitious and putting anywhere between 8,000 and 15,000 out at a time right out of the gate. I actually really like the more organic feel and approach that you're doing with only 250 to start. Plus, it gives a little bit more of a exclusivity feel to it. So I think that's very smart that you didn't overstep right out of the gate with 5,000 or plus. So I think 250 is really smart. I'm sure that's something you considered.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, all of these were, since they were manually minted, like trying to manually mint like more than 250 would be, I mean, it takes a lot of time because you have to add properties, you have to, render them in a way that they can like, be used for the person that gets them. So, and plus a lot of these actually were ideas of my audience. A lot of people DM'd me for custom crypto titties, and I actually made them crypto titties based on what they wanted. So like there was customs and regulars, so it was just kind of a mixture of everything.
That's awesome. So how did you first get into doing this, the real classic low-res pixelated art?
Well, I was inspired by CryptoPunks,
Yep.
like I thought they had like a cool design out of all the ones. Like I was really interested in pixels. Like pixel art is so fun. Like you can literally make anything out of little pixels. And so I got this pixel app, and it's just literally called Pixel Art. And so I just started like messing around with it, and I created like a similar looking face, and I was like, I don't want to like straight up rip off anybody. Like I want to create something new, like, but still have like that feel.
Yeah.
So then I started with a lot of designs, and then I found like the perfect like box titty that went with it. And that's like, I don't know, honestly, like the first design took me a lot longer than it should have, but literally right after that I was able to kind of like play with it from there.
Right. Do you see a place where you might get in the future where things get so expanded that you may have to hire a titty committee?
Well, I technically have a titty committee in my members, the holders. I actually recently partnered with American Cancer Society. So with that partnership, they're going to be doing events, and I'm actually doing a few partnerships with people in the future, but I can't really talk about that right now because, it's kind of on the down low, but I might need some help in the future. So any devs, feel free to contact me.
Awesome. Yeah, and that makes me think of another thing too, like the jokes write themselves. So just by people purchasing one of a crypto titty, they automatically become titty holders. So it's
exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, I love this. It kind of has the same charmingness out of when Ass Token first launched. I'm friends with the founder and owner of Ass at Liv. You know who Liv is?
Yes, I'm friends with her too on Twitter.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart. She's very ambitious like you. I had her on the show a few times to talk about it, and this totally reminds me of a lot of the same play on words, same vibe, and it's just charming. It's just fun, and it's one of those things too where I remember like people are like, "Oh, you're an Ass Token shell. You're an Ass Token shell." I'm like, I own $100 of Ass Token for fun, and I'm tweeting about it because it's funny. It's fun. So I love the same. Same energy. I really like it. Now that the metaverse thing is obviously where things are headed for a lot of projects and within the space. Do you see your project perhaps engaging that or not so much?
I can see, like, it just really depends on the capabilities, because I want my goal is to make sure that all my members are taken care of. Like, I want to make sure that this project, like, a lot of people, they want to do the sales, like, they just want to sell, and then after that, they don't really care. But what I'm trying to create is like a consistent community where we donate and take care of like everyone there. So if it's beneficial for the community, then that's something I definitely plan on being a part of. But it's kind of hard to tell. Like I'm very, very new to that particular idea, so we'll see.
Yeah. Just making sure I didn't miss any super chats in here. Okay, no, I didn't. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, so you're just kind of playing it by ear here, just seeing how it evolves. That's probably the smartest thing to do at this juncture. Everything's evolving so rapidly day to day. I wouldn't necessarily think that a project like yours would need to go there, but I'm sure you're open to it if you see where it might make sense. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's just like rarity tools, I didn't really think anybody wanted me to do that, but they did. So I'm going to eventually do that. It's just hard to tell sometimes.
Yeah. So before you launched Crypto Titties, you were kind of like a bit more just like immersed in straight up like crypto Twitter before that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was definitely into crypto Twitter, especially Doge Twitter and Telcoin and, a few other coins that I held. I mean, I still hold the coins, but I don't know, like the NFT vibes, like I really vibe with them so much. Like there's just something so different about it. It's like a magical world. I don't know. I still love the Doge community though. It's just, I'm like, I will admit that I'm way more into NFTs right now than I have been on anything else. So.
Yeah. I think it's a good reminder. I spoke about this with one of my co-hosts, Nick, a few weeks ago. We got in a bit of discussion about this where right when I was talking about this even long before that, where I was seeing, right when I started seeing a lot of people migrate more over to the NFT space from the crypto space, some people were intimidated by this, and I was just kind of taking it in. And from a sociological perspective, it made a lot of sense to me because I was like, you know what? At the end of the day, people want to have fun. People want to have fun. We're all here because to a certain degree, we want to increase our bottom lines and make things a bit easier for us in terms of financial freedom. But we want to have fun doing it. And people are going to go where people are having the most fun overall. And I think that's natural, and I think that's a good thing. And I think sometimes the crypto scene can get a little too intense, get a little too intense, and I think sometimes that drama and that intensity can kind of put people off. And I think that in part was the reason why so many people were ready to embrace something like NFTs. What are your thoughts?
I agree. Like anytime the charts would move like anywhere in the red, like people would like freak out or like be really negative. And that was something that really discouraged me being, in crypto for so long. I mean, I was part of the original, like earlier in the year, like whenever that really massive pump came and, there was a lot of hype then. And then, the excitement fell once everything kind of fell back. So, around that time, that's when NFT started to kind of take over because it was more exciting because it was going somewhere versus just being red or staying there. So I think, honestly, that's why, to get away from the negative in the red people, we all went to NFTs. So maybe in the bull run, hopefully soon, there'll be a little more positivity in the crypto community.
Yeah. Well stated there. Captain Howdy coming in with a $2 make you holler. Thank you for that, Captain Howdy. Appreciate it. And I always like those cute little super stickers. That one's looks like a 70s or an 80s aerobics pair doing a flex. Thank you for that, Captain Howdy. Appreciate it. Guys, if you're just tuning in, you're watching Steven Steele Live. I'm Steven Steele. My guest tonight is Ashley D, creator of Crypto Titties, and she's just been absolutely lovely. If you haven't smashed that like button, if you could just take a moment to do that, it takes a split second of your time, doesn't cost you a dime. It's literally the number one thing you can do to help out a channel like this, and it just takes literally a second. So if you could do that, if you haven't done that already, much appreciated. Getting back to what we're talking about here, Ashley, it's one of these things where I remember, because I found myself being for lack of a better term, a Doge-centric kind of content creator, just kind of an accident. I stumbled into it, and I've got a bit of a background in entertainment and things like that, so it just kind of came somewhat naturally for me, but but also on accident. That being said, I remember exactly what you're talking about when Doge went up to about 8.5 cents from about 2 cents overnight, but it didn't last too long. But that was kind of like the apex of the interest and the hype, right? And then Doge traded sideways between 4 and 6 cents. And I said this, I said, there's going to be a huge correction. Don't be discouraged. And I said, and it'll probably go sideways in an accumulation period for a while. A lot of people, because Doge, in one sense, it's really good that Doge brings so many new people into crypto. That's great. But on the other hand, the potential downside of that are people that don't have the benefit of understanding the history of how markets move and how markets will accumulate, and can be rather boring at times, right? It's not always this. I wish it was, but it's not. So we lost a lot of people on that 2.5, 3 month interim where it just bounced back and forth between 4 and 6 cents. People were telling me, oh, you're still covering that Doge stuff. It's, it's passe, this, that. And I was like, and this is what I try to, I think my community is awesome here, by the way. We got the best community. I know I'm biased, but I think everyone in this community really understands that this is a long-term journey. So just take a deep breath and enjoy yourself. That's why I go on so much. It's like, just relax. Like, if the market's doing poorly for this week, or it's just stagnant for a while, that's a part of the accumulation period. Because overall, and this applies to NFTs too, and I suspect this is going to be very applicable to your line from everything I'm learning about it. But if you, when in doubt, when you zoom out, right, and then you look at the totality of the journey, if it's a high utility coin or a strong NFT project with a good leadership and good artwork, it's not going to be this parabolic story. It's going to be a tale of 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. So overall, just as long as the trajectory is generally going this way, you're all good. You're gravy, baby. So I see that kind of trajectory for Crypto Titties. And in fact, I think you got on this early enough, and I think your branding is really, you've gone about it in a really smart, really fun way, where I think this could be one of those long-term kind of classic lines. Your thoughts?
Honestly, I really hope that's true. Like, I had, I mean, like any content creator, whenever, something is going really well, you're really excited. I had a 1 ETH floor at some point, and then it went down, now to 0.12, and but I really do like a lot of these NFTs are kind of following a similar pattern, and all that I can do is continue to go out and make these partnerships and bring value. So I think, like, what you were saying, like, as long as you have like someone who cares in the background and solid art, like, if I didn't care, it wouldn't go anywhere, but I really do care, and I care about my titties. So I definitely want to do what's best for my holders and make sure that their support of me actually, like, I mean, it's gonna sound really bad when I say it, but worth it. Like, their support in me is gonna help them with what they're trying to do.
Yeah. I think you're, from what I've seen, Ashley, I think you've done a really good job at displaying good leadership over a project like this, keeping it fun, keeping it friendly, and keeping it with the right dose of smartassery in there, especially related to a project like yours. I think all those are key elements in the long-term success of this. I mean, you couldn't have like a Charles Hoskinson's personality leading the top of a project like this. It would just be awkward and not a whole lot of fun. But I think you're the perfect person to head this up. Now, tell me a bit about your recent trip to New York for the conference there. How did that go? In all honesty, what were some of the great things about it, and what were some of maybe the less than great things about it?
Sure. Well, I went, I didn't like go through the whole thing. I came in, like, I think on a Tuesday. And so I actually got to meet my friend Morgan, which was really cool. And I got to meet like so many other people, like T-Moss, and I'm blanking on so many other names. But even Miss Teen Crypto was there, which I'm sure a lot of people know who she is. But
yeah.
So, like, meeting all these people in real life was really, really cool for me. Another thing that was really great were the networking events. Like, even in the lines for the party, like, I waited online in one party for like an hour, and I met a guy that said, "Hey, do you want to go to this brunch in the morning?" And I didn't even get into the party because it was so full. Like, the capacity was too full. But and that was a negative. But like, the positive out of that, and a lot of people are saying this, is that those lines help make connections that literally have gotten, a lot of people like where they're currently at. Like, for me, that brunch that guy invited me to in line ended up getting me connected with some people that I'm going to partner with in the future for future projects. So honestly, like, the connections that I made were the best part of it. The lines were a negative thing, but also a good thing. So, like, it's really hard to point out anything negative because it was such a great experience. Like, I almost felt like really depressed when I came back because I was so sad. Like, it was so fun. So yeah, I guess, the weather was the worst part for me.
Yeah.
I don't like the cold, so.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Doge Extra coming in with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Doge Extra. Hi, Ashley. Hope you had fun in New York. Did you make it north to reservations? Do you know what he means?
No, I don't think maybe it's like a city or something, but no, I just stayed in Times Square because I was like too busy and partying too much.
So, speaking of which, Times Square, you have had inevitably seen the naked cowboy.
I did. I actually took a picture with his ass. So.
Perfect. I was like, you can't visit Times Square. I mean, talk about a guy that's been working hard. The naked cowboy's been doing that for like 25 years or something. Almost every day, playing in his underwear in Times Square. I mean, what a beast. I mean, he must really have a good immune system to be playing in his underwear almost every day of the year. I know during the winter, he'll still be naked, but he'll wear like a hat or something, like a hat that covers his ears or something. But yeah, that guy's a character, man. I gotta give it up for him. Did you guys exchange words?
Yes, he actually wrote me a song for my crypto titties that I actually posted out on my Twitter. He sang to me, like, we took like maybe 10 minutes, like, him trying to make this song, and then he like started flexing. It was like, let's take pictures of me flexing. I mean, he was really cool, like a really good dude. I got his autograph, which was cool. So it was just like, I don't know, I love that guy. He's great.
Yeah, I do too. I like his vibe, and like I said, I mean, the guy hustles, man. He works hard out there, man. He works hard for his money, and he built that brand from scratch. Just a great example, rather, of just solo entrepreneurialism and just creating something from out of nothing. You know what I mean? It's just great. So that's awesome. I can't help but notice that you have a little bit of a southern charm to your accent. Are you from the South, Ashley?
Yes, I am born and raised Texan and still live here, so it's very Texan. It's very apparent to everyone wherever I go.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm no stranger to Texas. I used to be a recording artist full time, so I used to play. I played South by Southwest about four times, I think, in totality, and that was how my first experiences with Texas. But then I had family that moved to Lake Travis, and so then I visit them periodically as well. But I like Texas. I think overall. I really like the vibe, and I love how big it is. Are you a proud Texan?
I am. I love Texas. Like, I mean, obviously there's some things like if they would legalize, certain things.
Yeah.
But overall, I love it. Like, I've lived here my whole life, and it's hard for me to imagine living anywhere else.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I love Texas too, and obviously Elon loves Texas. And now we are seeing a migration from tech giants, engineering giants within California migrate to Texas due to the trajectory, a seemingly negative trajectory of California, and a positive trajectory in an overall sense anyway of Texas. So have you been to Starbase?
Not yet. I really want to go. It's like 4 hours away from me, so it's like a really long drive, but I really would love to see that. So I want to go, and then I'm gonna record something, and maybe Elon Musk will like let me take a selfie with him. Probably not, but we'll see.
Yeah. I'm gonna see you down there. We'll have to maybe I'll coordinate a party in Starbase. That would be awesome. Erectile Reptile, one of our staples here. Thank you for the $10 super chat. How's everyone doing tonight? Great show tonight. Fact: the current American flag was designed by a high school student. I did know that one. Usually your facts are very surprising to me, Erectile Reptile, but I can honestly say for one of the few times I was already aware of your fact tonight, sir. So now I feel just a little bit smarter than I normally do when you bestow your facts upon the super chat. Super chat. Thank you, Erectile Reptile. Good to see you in the mix. By the way, Erectile Reptile, how is your dating life going? This is a young man. I think he's from Ireland, if I'm not mistaken. He asked me for advice on how to how to cold approach a woman, and I gave him the advice one night on stream, and he came back and he said it worked and that he had a date plan. So I hope your dating life is going well, Erectile Reptile. You deserve it. You're a great guy. You're very sharp, and you're gonna kill it, man. You're gonna do great with the ladies. Hello, Hunter Wayne. Welcome to the chat. You, welcome. Scott Herfurth, of course. Mama Crypto, thanks for holding it down. Alan Schneider. And Charles, what is up? Chico Doge. Reminds me, so was your first foray into crypto through Doge, or just not necessarily?
It was. I actually was told by a friend in 2018, back when Doge was like extra cheap. He was like, you should put like, a few dollars into Doge, like see where it goes. I was like, sure. So I put in like just like less than $100 in. So fast forward 3 years later, that's whenever I noticed like that it's going up and crazy. And I was like, oh yeah, I have Doge. And then I looked at my account and it was like looking really good. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I love this now. And so I like immediately went on Twitter and I was like, oh my gosh, there's so many people that love this thing too. So it kind of like engulfed me. I was never really on Twitter before this year. So like Doge completely took over my life, and crypto and NFTs this year just like took me over. But Doge was my first love.
That's awesome. So your first Doge position was made 3 years ago? A small one?
Yes, it was.
Wow. That is awesome. That's so good to hear. My co-host, Nick, he invested. Now, this is not advice for anyone else to take. I always put this disclaimer out when I share this, but he took out a bank loan of money that he didn't have for $10,000, and he put it all into Doge in 2014. Yeah. And
oh my gosh, I bet he's so rich right now.
Yeah. Well, consequentially, and so what he did, he was like, he just said he had a feeling that this was really going to go somewhere, and then he just forgot about it, and he just went on with his life, and then now consequentially he is a 33-year-old retired millionaire due to that one decision he made in 2014. So just hearing you even say even just $100 3 years ago, the margins are really good. So many times we could get caught up in chasing the latest shiny object. I have that instilled in me too. And to a certain degree, I reserve a smaller part of my portfolio to allow myself to indulge in such activities. I do just enjoy risking it for the biscuit. But overall, and this is something I've been trying to convey to my viewers, and I think they understand it very well, I don't give the same advice. Well, first of all, I'm not a financial advisor, blah, 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 disclaimer shit. But like, I don't give the same advice or suggestions to people that you'll get on most other crypto-centric channels. And for the fact that I don't advise people to swing trade or short things unless they have a lot of experience with it, particularly with high utility coins. the data shows us, Ashley, that the overwhelming majority of millionaires that are made through the crypto space are done so simply over picking good projects and holding their positions over the course of several years, right? Obviously, you've had a taste of that, right? Where you put in $100 a year ago, and all of a sudden it was like, oh, Doge is doing well, and you're like, oh, wow, that's really cool. Now imagine if you were listening to a lot of crypto channels that were like, Doge isn't going anywhere, you can make much wiser investments with your money. Take that, that $100 that at that time turned into maybe $1,000 and divide it here and here and here. It wouldn't have been nearly as advantageous as if you just forgetting about it, right? So people get impatient if Doge isn't. I mean, people are impatient right now and saying Doge is dead, even though it's increased 9,000% over the last 12 months, 4,500% since the beginning of 2021. It's like, guys, put a little perspective here. Like, if that's not moving fast enough for you, I don't know what to tell you. So just you making that smart investment 3 years ago is just a small example of that. Speaking of which, Ashley, that raised another question for you. Do you see the NFT space behaving similarly in that regard, where if people just sit on their NFTs or for a long period of time, that it will increase the probability of great value?
Well, it honestly depends on the NFT, because like I've noticed some projects, like, some of the bigger ones, they've been kind of under the radar for years, and then all of a sudden they came and they conquered, but like a lot of people, like a lot of these generative projects, unfortunately, I mean, I hate to say this, but they're gonna fail, because a lot of people are wanting the new and the shiny, so they get the new one and they want to flip it. A lot of people in the NFT worlds are very much unlike the crypto space. I mean, there's a lot of people that like do short trades in crypto, but with NFTs, like a lot of people are like trying to quick flip them like they do in crypto. It doesn't work that way. But people try to make it work that way. It ends up killing projects. So until people better understand NFTs, I think that it will kind of stay stagnant until like we have like something newer into the space, like maybe another market, or maybe like some kind of like big event, like I know there's a lot of celebrities getting in on this, but it's just not the same as like an actual event that creates that kind of pump. Maybe more like the Coinbase wallet collectibles will push it up. So that's kind of, I have a very conservative outlook on most things, so that's kind of my look there.
Yeah, no, I think that's a very sage outlook to have. I've been noticing that more frequently, where I've actually very recently evolved a bit in my perspective from just an investor standpoint in regards to the NFT market, all of which I more deep dive and discuss these things with my members only streams. But overall, where I've kind of augmented things, both through my own experiences and what I've been observing out in the NFT market, is we're in a severe oversaturation right now. I do believe that herd is going to be probably thinned fairly dramatically over the course of the next few years, wherein the projects that will remain, that will increase in value, are the ones that are going to have consistent, solid leadership at the top, navigating this. Now, a lot of these projects too, and I'm sure you can see all the same markers that I see, they're just quick cash grabs. There's not a lot of passion behind the projects. They're going to be gone in a year, 2 years or less, or much less. So we're seeing there's a trend, okay? And one of the markers that kind of personally turns me off aesthetically about what I perceive to be an oversaturation of collections in the market is you get that one template of the cartoon character in the same position, and then it's like 10,000 pieces with just like a change of hats and like sunglasses and a party favor or something. And it's like pop, 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 pop. And it's just like, okay. And it's like, take whatever cartoon animal and then pick our cartoon animal, and that's the template. We just crank that out with no roadmap, no whatever behind it, and I'm just like, for me that's kind of fairly obvious, and it's not very inspiring for me artistically. With you, what I like about your project is also the same. For some of the same reasons that I also like Batman, my friend Crypto Batman's NFT project, Bobby Sticks, where it's not high art. Let's be honest here, but at the same time, it's the personality and the vibe of the person it's coming from that in part it gives it a lot of inherent value. I see that with your project. I see that with the success of Crypto Batman that he's had so far with his Bobby Sticks project, where it's like an attitude and it's a delivery, and it's the person that it's coming from that really gives it extra inherent value. I really like that. It kind of reminds me of like a Ramones song. Back when the Ramones first started, people said, this is 3 chords, super rudimentary, anyone can play this. I'm like, not anyone can play this. Anyone can play 3 chord songs, but nobody can play 3 chord songs the way that they do it. And so I see kind of a similar analogy to you and Crypto Titties. I know that's kind of a stretch, but your thoughts?
No, I like that. I mean, I have a lot of respect for Crypto Batman too. I love his project. I just I don't know, like I love like projects like that are unique like that. Like I don't dislike all generative projects, but a lot of the time it just feels so stale. So like that's one of the reasons I did what I did, because I hate the idea of like doing a computer. Like I want to be able to touch my art and be like, oh, I made this. Like I actually physically made it. That's the beauty of it, because you're actually happy, and I think people can sense the happiness, off of me or Crypto Batman or anybody that makes their NFTs individually.
Yeah, I agree. You can feel like you can feel some heart behind it, and I think that's to me that's rather evident in which projects have that versus which projects not so much, and obviously that's a large part of I think why Bored Ape Yacht Club was had been so wildly successful, is because when you look at the history and the mindset behind the people that conceived it. There was like a really strong vision, both aesthetically and narratively, that really adds like a dimension to it that people just kind of get engrossed with, right? Where if you have a project that doesn't have that passion or some sort of passion or narrative in it, even people that aren't really conscious of it are going to take notice that it's absent of those things. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I love the main generative art project that's big that I love is Bored Ape. Like, and the main reason for that is NFT NYC really showed me that it's more than just a generative art project. It's an actual like community, and that's what I love. Like, if you're gonna have a generative project, do it like that. Have a community, have events, have like this. Like they literally, like an ape is like family to them, which, even though that I wasn't an ape, they treated me like, their own, which is fun. Like, I just love that community so much. So those kind of communities like that, those are the communities that are going to make it.
Big agree there. Speaking of which, are there any other NFT lines off the top of your head that you like?
Oh man, well the most recent one that I purchased was Women and Weapons.
Yeah.
That one's really cool.
Yeah.
The artist Sarah, Gary Vee I think highlighted her too, but I actually got to talk to her in a space. She's like one of the hardest working people. She's actually a nurse, and hopefully she's retired from this project. So, but yeah, I mean that's a recent one. Of course, my friend Morgan, her Grumpkins. She loves, her Grumpkins. There's also, oh man, there's so many. It's hard to remember all of them, but yeah, I mean, I have so many friends that have these NFT projects that like are from the bottom of their soul, and that's what I love to see in a project is like, do you have heart in it? If you're just like putting stuff down. Like I don't care.
Right.
Like if you just reach out to me or like want to shell it, like no, I'm not interested.
Right. Got it. Got it. Yeah. So the grump. What was it? You said grumpkins and what? Oh, women and weapons. Yeah, I own a women and weapons piece. I have she's green with what are the weapons? I think it's green with throwing stars. I think that's the one I have. Yeah, but I like the line. I didn't really know much about the history of the line. I just know that I liked it aesthetically, and that was it. So yeah, I'm a women weapons holder as well. That's cool. Yeah, I think what we're talking about here, and for the audience that's listening, I personally think this is pretty valuable information to anyone's listening from an investor standpoint for things to look for. And I've been trying to help my audience navigate for solid NFT projects to look for, looking for particular markers that I've noticed that will give them a higher probability of making smart investments in that regard. But I agree with you. I do believe that we are in an NFT bubble. On the other hand, I don't think once that bubble is done, Ashley, that there's all of a sudden going to be this huge deflation and it's going to just fall off, and we're going to look back in a few years as, you know, this kitsch trend in 2021. I do think it's here to stay. At the same time, I do think we are in a bubble, so it may be a little bit tricky for investors to navigate through that. So I would encourage people to perhaps err on the side of caution regarding that. Enjoy yourselves. So where do you see the future? Is there a Crypto Titties roadmap?
Oh my goodness. Well, you know, like the main roadmap for me, unfortunately, I did not have the foresight to put it all on a smart contract, which would have been great.
Yeah.
So everything, picking out people will have to be done manually. But basically, like American Cancer Society and I are working on for Q1 of next year some events like charity auction events, you know, like Christie's auction style. And I actually, this is kind of like, I have like a partnership that I'm working on right now. That's not going to be like going through until next year. That might be like really, really cool. Obviously, I can't really say too many details because I still am hammering out everything. But yeah, I plan on, this project is not just going to be like, you know, minted titties and done. There's going to be a lot of different things that come with it. You know, one thing I can share is that the ultimate goal is to fund a cancer research clinic. I'm communicating with one right now, and they're working on funding for a new research center. So that's kind of our ultimate goal, is to make enough funds to do that. And get women to be able to go to their appointments and things like that. So it's really going to be focused on making sure that women are taken care of with their breast cancer, and you know, that the community supports that. And plus, the community has fun. There's going to be more fun, like merchandise and things like that. So I'm working on a lot. It's just, you know, it's just taking a little bit more time, and also I think it's important to build off the hype. So right now, it's kind of down. I'm gonna keep it on the down low, but next year, you know, it's gonna be like, just get ready.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to lean over there. My just got a new bone for my Doge, and she dropped on the floor and she looked very forlorn when it dropped on the floor. Here, come on in. Want to come in? There we go. Yeah, this is Remy. Remy's, we got our new bone, so she's super excited about that. So that's great. I love that you have kind of a charitable dual mission going on, and you're tying that into your project as well. And obviously, you've chosen a very apt direction that's definitely on brand for your charity and what you're doing there. So you've made 250. Do you have any plans to make any breakout collections thereafter now?
I do, actually. I'm in the works on a generative project with American Cancer. I'm not really like a big fan of them. However, this one is mainly like the funding is going to American Cancer Society, so I feel a little bit better about it. And plus, it's really to make the smart contracts so that the people that hold original Titties can be on a smart contract, so they get more airdrop rewards and things like that. I'm also going to be doing a partner project with a couple of people that I met today at the conference. There is a guy, he's a Native American chief that I want to work with to do like a project that funds like stuff for his tribes and his people. So that's something that I want to work on. The details are kind of like, not solidified, but we're working on it. There's also, a lot of different things that I want to do in the future, but I'm kind of just taking one step at a time. So we'll see, but mainly it's going to be to support my original project because I don't want to ever abandon that.
Yeah, gotcha. Billy Mark has been talking about this recently, and it's definitely something that I've talked a bit with one of the Dogecoin developers about a future wherein the Ethereum, the incoming Ethereum Doge bridge will hopefully inherently allow a tokenized version of Doge to be used for NFT purchasing. So, in my opinion, one of the best things that could possibly happen to Dogecoin is for OpenSeas to accept such a tokenization regarding Doge. I think that this would probably also inherently have a positive effect on your project. What do you think?
I agree. My base community, the people I started with out on Twitter is the Doge community. That's my original community. I want to make sure that's well known. Like I don't forget how I got here. So, having that, like them being able to pay with Titties with Doge, like that would be like full circle for me. I was really bummed out that I couldn't sell my NFTs through Doge. So some people I've tried to make exceptions and, send me Doge and I transfer them, but I wanted to keep it on the books for, one, the collection and two, just for the donation piece of it. So yeah, that would be, honestly, I think it would be a game changer for not only me, but so many other creators in the space.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I think that's something that will probably have a monumental effect potentially on the not only NFT market, but the market value for Dogecoin. Right now, Ashley, we are seeing, I've joked around, I think I tweeted out last week, the good news is that Ethereum's going to $10,000. The bad news is, so are the gas fees. So, here's a situation where we're almost seeing the more successful that Ethereum becomes in market value, and which I believe it is on a long-term trajectory to only do incredibly well. We also usually see trends in even higher and higher gas fees accompanying that. We saw how volatile the whole NFT market can suddenly become consequentially to this. Just when I think the apex of these gas fees recently anyway was about 1 or 2 weeks ago. We saw a few weeks there where hardly anybody was buying anything as a consequence to these gas fees. Do you feel vulnerable to those whims of Ethereum?
Honestly, yeah. Like there was times where I didn't sell any of my project because of the gas fees. Like the gas fees really can kill a project before it comes to light. Like even a mint, I know people that have had, NFT projects that they went to go mint and they weren't even complete with minting because the gas fees were like $250 or more just for like a NFT that wasn't even worth it. Like I wanted to support an artist today, but I couldn't because the gas fee was so incredibly high. And, I plan on going back online and seeing if it's not, but it's just sad, on these projects that, that people like really the blue chip projects, they never matter. Like no matter what, like people always want to buy them, but any project that's not those exclusive ones, it just will kill a project before it gets off the ground.
Yeah, it's really sad. I mean, I noticed that the collections that had launched over the last 4 weeks or so, we now the gas fees just over this last week started to moderate a little bit more. So now we're consequently seeing a bit more action pick up. But before that, yeah, there's about a 3, almost 4 week duration where hardly anybody was buying anything. I noticed a couple collections that I actually was really fond of that launched in that duration of time that are really still struggling, that normally I would say would have minted out immediately as a consequence to that. So I also was talking about with my audience, I said, you guys, you might want to keep a really close eye on your Solana and Avalanche for things that are going to go 3 to 5x within the next few months. Here we are, both of them are even taking more off in that trajectory. I think projects like Solana and Avalanche, etc., will continually do really well until Ethereum is able to get the gas fee situation under control. What do you have any thoughts on that in terms of the future going forward? How much of a potential threat Ethereum alternatives will be to Ethereum?
Oh man, like I see it already now. Like even at the event that I was at today, like people were already gravitating towards Solana. You know, like a guy told me like he just started minting NFTs and he wasn't even going to touch the OpenSea market because it was just Ethereum and it was killing him. And you know, when people first start minting NFTs, a lot of them don't have any money. So trying to get somebody to mint something, you know, that they may not even sell for $300, you know, that's a crazy thing to ask. You know, even if I do another collection, I've been considering doing it on Solana because it's cheaper. It's like literally $1 to mint an NFT. Like, what is better than that?
Yeah, you know, well, the first quarter going in, what some of the things that Ethereum has on its side are its long, rich history, all of the connections that it's forged, with various captains of industry, are the things that make it still very appealing and on the safer end from an investor standpoint. And I don't think Ethereum's going anywhere. I think it'll continuously be on the top 3 or top 4 at worst case scenario. But I do think that Solana and Avalanche are going to continually rise. I was telling my audience last week that, folks, I wouldn't be surprised to see within the next few months both Avalanche and Solana and Ethereum all occupying like the top 8 market caps in the world, because the NFT space has been exploding so rapidly in so many different ways. There's just gargantuan amounts of money in and out of it from week to week, that I think we could very well be looking at Ethereum and 2 Ethereum alternatives in the very top 8 market caps going on right now. But, you know, so here's the thing. First quarter is when it's projected that the Doge Ethereum bridge is supposed to be complete for consumption and use. Also is Ethereum 2.0, which is supposed to remedy some of the things we're talking about here. The Doge Ethereum bridge is also supposed to remedy some of these things we're talking about here. I think that's going to be a very pivotal window. That's supposed to be the first quarter of next year. If they follow through, if both of these things follow through on execution in the first quarter of 2022, I think that the future for Ethereum will be the bullish it could possibly be. However, if they stumble again, because Ethereum 2.0 is supposed to come out a few times now and it hasn't, if they stumble again, if the Doge Ethereum bridge stumbles again, I think people are kind of on their last leg with all these gas fees. What do you think?
I think honestly, like a lot of people, no matter how high the gas fees, are going to be bullish for Ethereum because it holds value really well. But you know, I'm sure, I don't know if you heard about the ENS token drop yesterday with the ETH addresses. But basically there was a drop. If you own an ETH address, you have an ENS token, and they were talking about how that is a good resolution for Ethereum as well. So a lot of people, you know, want to solve this Ethereum problem, but they love the way Ethereum acts like in practice, you know, for their investments. Like I put all my money in Ethereum because I just like that it usually stays pretty steady. So, that's the complicated thing about it. It's like you love it and you hate it. You hate all the crap that comes with it, but like you can't stop loving it. So I think, maybe it'll probably like have a little bit of like rough patches if it goes through that again. But honestly, like I mean, this is just my theory, but a lot of people love it, and I don't think it's gonna like overall affect it. It'll affect like the positivity though of the market. That's my opinion of it.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good outlook to have on it. One thing's for sure, I think by the end of the first quarter of 2022, I think we're going to see a lot of changes happen in a short period of time, particularly in a lot of dynamics that have been shaping up around Doge. It seems that right now we're coming closer and closer to a looming acceptance of Dogecoin with Tesla. I think Elon's been giving out more than enough hints that that's where his headspace is. So this is something that could happen as soon as next week or sometime early next year. Do you have any thoughts or inclinations on which that will be, Ashley?
Oh man, honestly, like I've worked in corporate like my whole life, so I know how corporations run, and honestly I don't foresee anything happening until Q1 of next year. Like corporations will always release things Q1. That's like their magic thing because that's when funding becomes available. So I think that once Q1 hits, a lot of these releases, a lot of like everything that you're looking to happen will start to be incorporated because, with the holidays and everything else, like a lot of people are going to be focused on other things, and companies are going to want to allocate their money and save it until the next quarter. So that's kind of my opinion on it.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, pretty well stated there. Tim coming in with a $5 super chat. Question for Ashley: what advice could you give to someone who wants to create NFTs and is a complete noob?
Well, I was a complete noob. I didn't really know the first thing about NFTs, and honestly, what you've got to do, like the most important thing that I tell people is build a following, build followers that trust you and that know you and that you laugh with and that you have fun with. If you do not have followers, if you do not have people that care about what you do, you will not sell one single NFT. I don't care whether you're as good as Picasso or whatever artist, you're not going to sell one NFT. Make connections with people in the community. Don't just think about yourself. Think about, I have a friend that has that project. Let me support it, and in the future, maybe they'll support you. So, think about your community rather than who you are. And then once you figure out who your community is, the project will come to you, and then you'll be able to go with that success because your community is taking you there.
Yeah, the importance of community has never been more paramount, especially when it comes to an NFT line. That is the tribe, and the success of the project is kind of it rests on two factors. Obviously, the leadership, but the level of engagement from the holders. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. If you have 30 followers and wanting to create an NFT and you don't give anybody love, I'm sorry, but yeah, it just, a lot of people just expect to make the art and then people buy it for some reason. So unfortunately, you gotta put a little more work in than that, but good luck to you on that. Like, just keep going, do what you can do.
Yeah, do what you can do. I think you've got, Ashley, I think you've got a great attitude. I think that I think your project has a pretty good probability of long-term success with you at the helm. With this being said, I have noticed, I don't know if you recall, what was that, about a month ago, that Mark Cuban had a dust-up on a Twitter Spaces with what would be described as some Bitcoin maximalists. And I covered some of that here live, and hearing the way some of these more Bitcoin maximalists were talking to and addressing Mark Cuban was very rude. It's very curt, very rude, very on the offense, very unreasonable. Now, the lesson I took away from that, because I covered it live here, streaming, while offering a little bit of commentary, mostly just facial reactions and and body language through it. But I did offer some commentary after that happened, and my basically was this, because my big takeaway, as where it stood for where I stand on things, was this. To me, there were so many people in the Dogecoin community that were like, "Wow, can you believe how terribly these Bitcoin maximalists sound?" I'm like, I know. That's how Doge maximalists sound. You guys, the Doge maxis, you sound like those guys when you go off. Like, that's how you guys communicate. So I thought it was a really good a teachable moment, a really good learning moment to just be conscious to not of how things come across, because those absolutely have kind of sabotaging effects, not only in the crypto community. We fortunately don't see as much of it in the NFT community, but you know, we want to have fun and we want to be inclusive, have fun. Well, you can be passionate and being bullish about whatever projects or coins you want without being an a-hole to other people. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I've known, many Doge maximalists, and some of them kind of have backed off a little bit. Like, you can't hold certain coins if you hold Doge, or you can't, the same for Bitcoin. You just have to have everything in Bitcoin. A lot of people are like, but most people have such a diverse portfolio. I have like a lot of different coins, including like shit coins that people would probably be mad at me for having. But, I want to try to make money. I want to try to do something new. I'm not going to sit here and chill it every day. Hell no, especially with, I mean, one of the worst things about, the Doge maximalists, in my opinion, is that, like some of these, knockoff coins, like I'm not a huge fan of the knockoff coins, it is what it is. But I mean, with any great coin, you're going to have knockoffs. But like, a lot of people are just trying to make money, and people get mad at people for talking about it, but it's another thing. I can understand where they're coming from, whenever you're claiming to be a Doge influencer and then, tweeting about these other coins. So it's just like, it's kind of really hard to figure out how to feel about a lot of things, because there's so many different, there's a lot of different gray area. A lot of people in the Doge community don't want to be taken advantage of, because some people have in the Doge community. So I think that's where it's rooted at, is that they just don't want to be taken advantage of, which I can really relate to.
Yeah, totally. I think that's pretty well stated. Something I talk a lot about here on the show. I more deep dive into this stuff in my members only breakout sessions, but for me, context is everything. If people are espousing very strong opinions, most importantly making judgments or accusations of other people, and are willing to dispose of context in those accusations, then you're going to get very disingenuous, very dishonest results, right? So part of the context for me is what's most important for my audience is I'm not against shitcoin investing, but I also advise people to be very careful and to understand that they are engaging in a very high-risk, high-reward game. And you're engaging in a very high-risk, high-reward game. You're free to risk it, and I also don't advise that they occupy too much of their portfolio with this stuff. But at the same time, I can think of two different members of this community that have become millionaires off of shitcoin investments. Okay, so it's not really for me to judge their success, right? And their path to getting there. I think what's most important for me is the context, and that investors understand the risks and what they're getting themselves into. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. Every investor is different. A lot of them, like, I can't remember who said this, but somebody was talking about how sometimes it's like, going to gamble. I think it was Mark Cuban had mentioned it's like, trying to win the lottery or something like that. With some of these shit coins especially, even with regular cryptocurrency, there's always risks. So you just don't know, how the value is going to hold. It could go to zero tomorrow for some reason. We just don't know. But, I think as long as you're comfortable with whatever you put in, that you're going to lose. Like if you put in more than you're willing to lose, you're really gonna like. I mean, you may like have good success, which I really hope you do. But if you're doing that, you should really reconsider because, like I'll share a personal story. I invested in a coin that I really thought was gonna be something really good, and I spent thousands of dollars, and then it dropped like almost immediately, and it was a big lesson to me that like although like it wasn't all of my investment, it was a lot of investment that I had earned, and I had made a really poor mistake. I've lost thousands of dollars. So from my personal perspective, like I think being a careful investor pays more than being like a spontaneous investor. It's like 1 in a million chance for you to be a millionaire off these tokens.
Yeah, really well stated there. Really well stated. Well, Ashley, this has been absolute delight. I hope you had a good time here. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Why don't you let people know where they can find you on social media and perhaps OpenSeas?
Sure, yeah. So on OpenSea, I'm Crypto Titties with the space in between the crypto and the titties. And you can find my project Twitter on at NFT or NFTitties 80085, like boobs. And then my Twitter is Ashley Decan. So all I gotta say to my Doge fam, I love my Doge fam. And then I guess I don't know, like I have a lot of love for the crypto and NFT community, and I'm always appreciative of every opportunity, not only to speak with you, but to connect with my community. So, moments like this, I really love. So I really appreciate being on here.
Yeah, it's awesome to have you, and I would love to have you back.
Yeah, absolutely. We can set it up, especially once these partnerships, I can speak a little bit more about them, so that would be cool.
That'd be great. So why don't we stay in touch as more developments happen on your end? Then we can kind of do a catch-up, some catch-up episodes with you.
Absolutely. Sounds good.
Awesome. Well, guys, I want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight. Really appreciate it. I hope you guys had fun. I know I did. I want to thank my esteemed guest, Ashley D. She's pretty easy to find on Twitter, as she just said. So feel free to give her a follow if you don't already. And she's going to be back sometime in the future. I had a great time here. Thank you guys so much, each and every one of you. And I will see you guys tomorrow night. This is Steven Steele and Ashley D. of Crypto Titties signing out. See you guys.
Cool. I like that. That was good. You got a lot of energy.
Tour